to go a long way in helping us accomplish our goal of keeping people safe, secure, and treated.
Good morning. This is October the 10th, Richland County Court and Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Banks, Commissioner Mears, Commissioner Bureau are with us. Stacy Crawl, our clerk, Andrew Keller, our administrator, Captain Blunk from the jail is here. And Captain Blunk, you have something called Overwatch you want to talk to us about.
I do. I'd like to talk.
And the sheriff just walked in.
Yes, the sheriff is here. So just to give you an idea, I would like to show a video before I discuss this, if you guys are all on board with that. About a 2.5 minute video. So go ahead and.
Roll on.
All right, so as you see, this is a bracelet that goes on the inmate's wrist. We'd like to be getting 10 of these bracelets that individuals that come in the door and that are identified by either our staff or medical. Usually it's going to be medical that's going to be assessing these and putting these on, because when we get sick people, medical comes and checks them. So, but officers or supervisors can have these put on too. So when they put them on, it monitors the inmates in its current, live, up to date heart rate, blood oxygen level, skin temperature, and you can even do location as well. So it is Wi-Fi based. There are some things we'll have to run as far as the routers. I think we'll have 2 routers within our jail, one in our booking and medical, and then one in the 3rd floor, which is we're to be housing critical care inmates in there as well, moving forward here soon, shortly. So this is just a tool to be used to help us in our efforts to maintain safety, security in jail for our inmates. It does not take the place of anything else. With this thing on, with this wrist bracelet on, we will also receive a phone, which would be the on-duty, like a cell phone, but it's locked down. But the cell phone, any alert that comes through, so you can set the parameters for heart rate, blood oxygen, and skin temperature. You can set parameters. So say if you want this guy for a heart rate, you want to set anything under 60 or anything over 100, it's going to set an alert, and that is for inmate specific. So you can set it if you have 10 different inmates on it, you can set it specific to each inmate. When it goes under or above what those settings are, it sends an alert to that phone and to the monitors or in the jail for a real-time alert that alerts the staff for the medical staff.
So Kevin, that was my question. Let's say there's an alert to say there could be an issue.
Mhm.
Who gets the alert? The medical staff?
Well, it would go out through whatever computer we have assigned. So, and yes, the medical staff and their cell phone that they will have on them, which is just the medical alert. It's like a cell phone, but it comes to that cell phone, which they'll keep on them. And it goes to the desktops, whatever, you could have 10, 15 computers that it goes to as well. I can get it to my phone. If I have a medical alert, it can come to my phone as well.
Okay, so you can control,
Yes,
you can set up the criteria or parameters.
yes.
Use the alerts. Okay.
Bruce, can you explain to the commissioner some of the changes that have been made in the jail over the last 6 months medically?
Yeah, so we started doing we revamped our intake, medical intakes. That was the biggest change for the staff. We are now asking them 25 critical medical questions when the door. That slows down the process, but it is absolutely, my opinion, it's absolutely necessary for us to do that at this time. Now, depending on their answers to those questions and even what the officer sees, they can have the medical staff come over and do an immediate medical screening right there, which is a little bit more in depth than our 25 questions. We've also made within 12 hours, instead of, within 14 days, we do the actual medical screening or appraisal, kind of like a medical screening that the nurse will do within the first 12 hours of incarceration or before the person goes to general population. So if they're in booking and they go to general population, a nurse will have eyes on all of our inmates and asking them, going through the questions for them. So I think that's been beneficial as well. There's some future plans that that I'm looking at doing. I'm working with ODRC to make sure everything is kosher as far as our direct supervision. Because if you know anything about our jail is not direct supervision. We're indirect, which means we walk through the units within every certain time frame. So I'm looking to open up a couple actual direct supervision units that we can better monitor our critical care inmates, our sick inmates, our mental health, severely mentally ill inmates, that we can better monitor them and free up some of our booking staff to actually do booking and releases, what they need to be doing. So those are some of the changes that we've made. We've also instituted a critical care meeting twice a week where myself, the site supervisor for medical, the mental health or the mental health liaison, I guess, for our jail, also the jail physician and the regional director from our new medical service provider. We meet twice a week, Tuesday and Friday, and we go over all of our critical care inmates that we have in custody. We go through each one of them. We look through EMRs, make sure treatment is accurate and well and good. But the physician's on that line, and we're talking twice a week. We're going through everybody that comes through. So critical care inmates that we recognize and see. So we have also instituted a high alert, which inmates that are on critical care that we believe are on that are really sick and need extra medical attention. We put them on high alert, which is pretty much every hour we're ensuring that they are well, breathing, and doing okay. So, and then assessing it as we see it. So those are some of the things that we've done so far in the last 6 months. But this here, Overwatch, it is they came about in 2020. They're from San Francisco, California. I don't believe there's any Overwatch in the state of Ohio. I did do some research. I think the blood oxygen was, I think, key to me. The others that I've seen didn't have the blood oxygen levels. They just had the pulse, the heart rate. I think that's important too, but I also think blood oxygen level is important as well. So this is, they're well known, I think, out west, and they're moving, east. I really liked the aspects of this, and I think it'll be extremely beneficial into what we're doing and providing adequate medical care to the inmates jail.
And how are you planning on paying for it?
So as we talked, we will be paying for this out of the inmate commissions account, which is commissions that we received through inmate commissary, through inmate phone calls, video visits, video messaging. That's how it's going to be paid. And that's for the treatment of inmates.
What's the annual cost on that, Captain?
So the annual cost up front, the first initial cost is going to be $41,000, a little over $41,000. They will come in, they will train our staff. They'll set everything up to how we like it and how it's going to work. And then that's 41,000. And then annually, it's going to be 24,000 a year.
If we decide to continue, if you
Just-
program
If you like, yes, it's a 1-year contract.
your contract.
Yes, it's a 1-year contract. We'll see how it works. We'll assess it and definitely will.
Sheriff, Captain, thank you. Anytime we can add an extra layer of protection for the health of our individuals. I think it's a good thing and it's paid for out of monies that is to be used for such a purpose. So why wouldn't we want an extra layer of protection for people that are in our jail? So I'll make that motion.
One quick question. If you decide to expand more than 10 people, what would be the additional cost?
Yeah, so each Overwatch sensor is $750.
Everything.
And then you would also add your, it's cloud-based, so you would also add cloud services, probably a little bit to that.
So
So you're probably looking at probably 800 to 900 additional. Right now, so since we've done the critical care inmates and we're tracking them, we've never had more than 6 critical care inmates at a time. So I think 10
10 is probably.
suffice. And right now, currently today, we have 2. So I think that will be sufficient. If not, we'll look at down the road where we need to go with it.
Captain, do you have any hesitations about being the pilot for this in Ohio? Specifically, I'm just thinking, are there any concerns about elevating the standard of care such that if Wi-Fi is not working or if there's a mistake in identifying the customized criteria for what you're monitoring, that it could create additional unreliability?
Yeah, well, I think there's always risk, especially when you're venturing into something that nobody really around you has really tested. But there are numerous other jails throughout the US that do this, but I think the risk, I think the benefit outweighs the risk in my judgment. We're not taking any current services away, that what we're doing, this is a supplement to help us in our endeavor. Some things I don't control. I don't control whether Wi-Fi is up. We don't control those things, you know. With that said, there's again, it's not replacing anything that we're currently doing. It's just an added, benefit to do that. So
again,
there's always risk to anything you go on. But I think long-term benefit and hopefully within that first year, we'll even see that. So I'm always willing to try something. I'm not afraid to fail. If I fail, I fail, but I'm definitely willing to try this, as I do believe it's going to be more beneficial for us and I think it would actually help us in our risk. So
I think this is brilliant. And once again, Richland County is on the cutting edge of technology in another
I
respect.
view the pilot, yeah, I understand the concerns with maybe being a pilot, but I view us as maybe being visionaries here. Always trying to provide more layers of safety for our people. Captain, thank you. And my motion still stands.
Strong second.
It doesn't penetrate the skin. It's just a wrist.
correct. Yeah, and on that, it is a secure device. It's very hard to get off. However, if it is tampered with, there's a trigger that will also send an alert to say that it was, either broken or tampered with, that we can go in and address that as well.
Stacy, we're ready.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Carl has question.
Carl Hunnell from Richland Sources with us online, and Carl, ask away.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning, guys. I know I watched that video this morning that you guys showed. I'll put it up with the story today, but I know Lincoln County, Nebraska, let me go back and look. I believe it was in October of 2023. They had an inmate die in custody, and they implemented this earlier this year as well, the same exact system. And I know that Richland County had a couple of deaths this spring. I guess I never went back to check. Were both of those kind of drug-related deaths, and is this kind of a good response to that kind of an issue?
I believe it's definitely a good thing that we have these bracelets. We are experiencing sicker individuals as the years go by and even more of them. So yes, I mean, we are actually, I have looked for many ways to help us in our endeavors to get people treated and cared and make sure we're doing our due diligence in treating them.
And how long will the training take once they come in? And when do you anticipate with this approval today, all of this coming into fruition?
I'm hoping I can get in by the end of the year. I think it was about a 4-hour training session for each officer and medical staff. Well, 2 hour, I'm sorry, 2 hours for every officer, 4 hours for medical.
And I know back in March, you guys signed a new contract with Southern Health Partners. How is that organization? How's that working out for you? I know it was a change. So what have you seen from your new provider?
So the difference I've seen is that their corporate is very engaged in taking on issues and making sure that our medical staff is doing what they should be and making some good changes. Matter of fact, how I was introduced to this Overwatch through that medical provider. So it's definitely been I think it's been a very positive, and they're good to work with. So.
And I know when the contract was approved at the time, or at least about this time last year, or maybe a little later, you guys were looking at enhanced medical services in the contract, but the cost I think was like somewhere between 1.1 and 1.8 million. This obviously seems like um, a more affordable solution, but I know the commissioners are getting ready to go through the budget cycle, so maybe the sheriff will want to answer this. Is this something that you're gonna push again, Sheriff, to look at that enhanced services contract, or do you think this will suffice?
I think we're always trying to improve any way that we can, and actually, we have put in for a grant, and our grant is in the process. I think it's, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a 3-year, $300,000 per year contract or grant. I think it's a $900,000 grant that we put in for. And we're waiting to hear back on that.
And that would be for the MAP program to run a pretty comprehensive medication assisted treatment program in the jail.
Okay, is that a state grant or a federal grant or some mix of the two?
It's a state grant.
Through the Ohio Department of Health or
Yeah, through one Ohio, Ohio one.
I think that's what's called, yeah.
And Captain, I think you said 41,000 up front, including training and setup. Does that include the first year, or is that going to be, would that be 24,000 for the first year on top of the 41?
That includes the first year.
Okay. And where did you said this comes out of inmate commissions? I think you said could you go over again what accounts this comes out of?
So this will come out, yeah. So this will come out of our commissary commissions account, which is our current commissary vendor is Keefe. It's just commissary, food service. Not food service, commissary. Our food service is Summit now. So nothing to do, two separate things. This is just like chips and snacks and T-shirts and commissary.
That the inmates,
Inmates order, they pay for, yes.
and if they get telephone and video service, they pay for it.
Yes, that would be, that would be the Evercom or the phone services. I think I can pay for this strictly out of the commissary. There's two separate accounts.
Okay. Well, I think that's what I had. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Break it back.
Forth and protect us and protect our inmates.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get some of the other done before our 10 o'clock executive session. Hopefully we get motion to certify the record of proceedings for October the 8th.
Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
And can we approve the requisitions?
Second?
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
And can we approve the weekly transfers and appropriations?
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay, and can we set hearing date, road vacations, these are both in Madison Township. Margaret Avenue, we have the hearing on November the 14th, 10:15. And to follow that with a Walker Road closure, a vacate on the same date, November 14th at 10:30.
Begrudging motion since we'll have to see Mr. Fletcher.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes,
Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
and when we get a motion to authorize hiring chief maintenance position at wastewater.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Banks?
Yes,
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
and when we approve overweight and overdimension vehicle permits for Crawford Construction Company to move equipment in and fix a couple of our bridges.
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay. And Carl, those bridges are at
I have,
what?
there's a second over. Two, there's,
Second one, D.
okay.
Uh, and this would be for a single trip and return overweight, over dimension. This one would be needed at the Norfolk Southern Railroad Yard located at Oak Street, City of Mansfield.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Mears?
Yes.
Any other? Carl, you have any questions?
Not at this time. Do you anticipate action after executive session?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. It is 9:53. We will stand in recess until 10 o'clock. Come back. Good morning. We are back in session. And can we get a motion to go into executive session to talk about employment for jobs and family service?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Okay, it's 10:16 and we're back in regular session. And Lori has requested that we approve the hiring of a couple people. And be Lori Kaiser, physical officer, her job would be physical officer, correct? She could start October 17th at $21.08 an hour. And Rachel Adamescu, and that is, what's all the letters mean there?
Social service worker.
Okay, and that she could start on October 31st at 18.80 per hour. A motion to approve the,
So moved.
Second with a 9-month probation for each.
thank you.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes,
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Carl, you have any questions? Is he back on?
No, thank you very much, though.
Okay. All right, now. Kelly Christensen,
Yes.
Andrew Keller have asked to approve an updated personnel manual, 212 pages. 212 pages. So tell us about it. You worked very hard and very long on this, and it's greatly appreciated.
You're welcome. The original policy manual, so I'm told, because it's been around longer than I have.
Holy
It's
mackerel.
A lot, right?
And how long have you been here for, so Carl knows?
37th year.
Okay,
So it was created in 1984 is my understanding. And we have had, periodic reviews and little updates here and there. It was never a central project or, maintained in any specific way, but we decided it's overdue for a review and just to try to take a look at every bit of it, make it consistent. And so Andrew and I have been meeting regularly for a long time in an attempt to do that. It was a bear of a project, but we did our best to come up with something that would be helpful moving forward and presented it to the board for review and adoption.
just real quick, Carl, you missed Andrew and Tony's customary disagreements on format and other substantive portions of the document. But I did go through every single page of the policy manual. Andrew addressed my questions. Changes, Carl, were kind of substantive changes, had to do with just updates to the Ohio Revised Code. We're required by law to state the language of some provisions, organizing it accordingly. There was a continued disagreement this morning between Mr. Keller and myself about garnishments, whether that needed to be a separate section, and yet we had a payroll deduction section. And I asked Mr. Keller if a garnishment was a payroll deduction, and he begrudgingly maybe agreed. And I said, well, why isn't garnishments under the payroll deduction section? So anyway, Carl, if you would like to review it, it's 180 plus pages of public employment language. And it's 180 pages, but if you include the Ohio Revised Code, that is a font size of about -50. And so you need a magnifying glass to read it. We'd be happy to share that with you. Obviously, it's a public document, but I especially want to give thanks to Heather, Andrew, and Kelly, who have worked really hard to organize the document, to make it. We had different formatting, different font sizes. Heather changed the words to match. So then if it was employees, it would stay plural. I mean, the three of them really gave a thorough review to just pretty up our policy manual. Keller can speak to you outside of this. We took out some sections because I'm like, geez, 180 pages is long enough here. So Mr. Keller and I had a disagreement about what would come in, what would come out. And Carl, it is available for your exciting review at your leisure. We could send that to you so you could read, but I just wanted to go on the record to say thank you to Heather and Andrew and Kelly, who have spent a lot of time. Let let's say, organizing this and making it more presentable to anyone who reads it, including Carl, who I'm sure will read it page for page. So at this time,
And we won't think less of Carl if he doesn't ask to see it.
correct. Uh, At this time, and again, I'm going over a couple formatting things at clerical, we can just clean up to the side, but at this time, I'll make a motion that we approve a very well done policy manual through the hard work of three of our team here.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay. Carl, would you have any questions on that?
Oh, certainly. Well, if you have the policy electronically, if you could email it to me, that'd be great. I would like the opportunity to review it that way. Far be it
Certainly
for
do
me to
that.
just, thank you. Far be it for me to point out any mistakes made by two licensed attorneys. But first of all, font size and typeface are two different things. Actually, point size and font size are two different things. Font deals with typeface. Point size deals with how large the type is. I just want
Correct.
to point that out because never say font size because that's inaccurate. It's point size.
It's good that Ohio University got that into
Yes.
your head.
Well, they beat me over the head for 4 years with a pica pole so I could learn how many points are in a pica and things like
Well, I
that.
can tell you the point size is 14, but if you go to the section that cites the Ohio Revised Code, I needed to take out a telescope to read it. So,
Then that is up. We used to call that in the old days of the sports newspaper business, agate.
well, I don't
Agate.
even know what it is, but they really did a lot of work, and Andrew and I argued through a lot of it as well. So,
Carl, a couple things. One,
Yes.
I'm never going to touch a debate with you on font or accompanying issues.
Well, I mean, font would be something like stymie extra bold or Roman. Those are font.
Yes. Well,
Sorry.
what you'll see in this particular personnel policy manual is Times New Roman 12 point.
14.
Well done.
Yeah, and some 14, and then I think the revised code is 10. In any
Well
case, it's 200 pages. We would happily get you an electronic copy. It may be later today or at the latest, probably tomorrow. Tony's got some final polish he's, assisting us with here, but we'll get it to you as soon as it's complete, for you to take a look at. But, the real time was devoted to the substantive changes on some of the policies that are driven by federal law, such as FMLA, discriminatory harassment, of course, drugs and alcohol. We spent extra time on driver eligibility. We added in public records management because that's required by law to be in our personnel policy manual.
Yep.
This manual only applies to the board's direct employees, but we will invite other county elected officials to access it and adopt it for their own offices. They may need to make a few adjustments, but that'll be available to other county elected officials.
And my contribution to this very intense discussion about the policy manual is to point out for the record that pica is also defined as an eating disorder in which a person eats things not usually considered food.
Which was also a common trait at Ohio University in 1980. The only other thing I would point out, thank you for illuminating me about garnishment. I thought that was something I put on my steaks, so thank you for that. And with that, thank you. That's all I had.
Well, again, thank you, three of you very much. Okay, we can go into recess till 10:30 when we will come back into executive session with Day Springs discipline.
You told me.
Shouldn't have said anything.
Okay, we're back in session. We've been joined by Michelle Swank of Dayspring, and we would like to go into, can I get a motion to go in executive session to talk about some discipline? Right.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears. Thank you.
We're back from executive session into full session, regular session, and is there a motion to carry out this discipline?
This time I'll make a motion that we suspend a Dayspring employee for 2 days as a result of a Group 2 number 7 violation.
Second that.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Is Carl back with us? Any other? Hearing no other. Stand adjourned at 10:38.